Hey guys, and welcome back to the Nicola Collective Podcast with your host Emilio.
And Olivia Nicola.
And we are in part 2 of how to have faith when you have nothing else to give. All right, let's get into it. What I'm saying
Everyone's
is like
doing it type
yeah,
thing, you know?
It's only recently that people had almost instantaneous success.
Yes.
You know, because for
Yes.
decades, centuries even, businesses
Yes.
didn't start just like, oh, I'm going to go do it. And that's
Yeah,
it. Like,
yeah.
people couldn't do that. They had to have a plan. They had to do
Yeah.
things. But because we have rapid technology, of course
Yeah.
we could, be
Which is
quickly
great. That's the
successful,
best
but
part about all of this is that there are so many things you can do. There is unlimited opportunities out there for you to take advantage of. And it's like just because one door closes, you could like there's so many
Yeah.
other avenues, so many other doors you could freaking open because like
yeah.
we have all this opportunity now, and it's like I think
And the way to figure that out is to remember that when you have nothing else to give, you got nothing else to push out. That is the perfect time to be poured into. That is the perfect time to get that guidance, to be able to hear it, to be
Yeah.
able to hear where you have to go, to see
Yeah.
what you have to do. Because you're going to constantly be, typically, you would constantly be looking for the next thing. What can I do to keep myself afloat? And it's like sometimes you need to really just stop. There are going to be thousands of things for you to do, but stopping and letting the Lord pour into you, letting the Lord do his works in you will allow you to see that direction more clearly, you know?
as
And
long as God has placed he's placed that like desire, or not desire, how would you like he's placed that calling on your life to start a business.
Mhm.
I think sometimes like that's it doesn't always, in a lot of circumstances, it doesn't always matter exactly what you do. It's who you reach, I think, and who you impact and who you, because if you think about it, like with businesses, there's so many different things you could do, right? But it's really about the people, like I feel like, and how you do it and how you display your work and all of that
yeah, I
that
mean
matters.
there's certain businesses, obviously, like
Yeah.
not ethical businesses that are like
Yeah.
cut off, like separated from that
Yes.
situation or
Yes.
whatever. But there are so many different things that you could do, like you're saying,
Yes.
that can reach thousands of people. And it's
Yes.
about the people that you're
It's not
reaching.
about really what you do. And that's what I want to put emphasis on. It's like you're not going to we can't all be like, you know,
Influencers
Christian influencers, like people who are like just doing Bible-based Christian clothing brands. Like we can't all be those people.
no,
I'm
and
sorry,
when
but
it comes
it's like
to the
like
Nicola Collective stuff, it's like this is an additional business.
like yeah.
It's not the sole business. This is
Yeah.
something that we know that we have the calling on, but
Like
we know that it's not
yeah.
like the biggest thing
Yeah.
that we could do just yet. I mean, it will be, I would say, but
Yes, but I'm saying like yeah, like no, like it's this is something where like like your business is something where you can literally choose so many different avenues basically. Like there's so many different things that you can do, and I don't think God like is like just saying no, has to be this only so like there's very rare
he'll be
cases
very
where
clear.
it's like that where he's like you're called to start this business and do this, you know what I mean? But a lot of the times it's like, hey, I feel like I'm supposed to start a business and I don't really know. And then then you find so many different avenues you can go down, and really it's not about the avenue, but what you do to work towards improving
Yeah.
on, you know, improving your business, getting to that point that you want to be at in your business.
If you're looking at your journey in entrepreneurship as driving,
yeah,
you have to remember you can't drive endless amounts of miles without refueling.
yeah,
You know, that's impossible.
yeah, no, it's
You
like
have to refuel. You have to be constantly fueled
you
up.
have to like look at like like what I want to really emphasize too is like don't be so stuck on one specific thing, because I feel like a lot of people are really stuck on something that they thought they were supposed to do that isn't really working out, and it's like they're trying to figure out if they want to give up or like move on, and it's like sometimes it's like it's hard to say, right? Like whether you just give up or you move on to the next thing you
Yeah.
could do, you know? And it's like how to trust God through those times to figure that out. Because I think that's something that a lot of people face where they're like
Yeah.
on the brink of that, where they're like, I don't know what to do. Like
Because
this
there's
is
some people who have
hard.
gone
Yeah.
through the qualification, and that's exactly what they're gonna do, and that's
Yeah.
their one stop. Like that's
Yes,
the
that's
only
what
thing they're gonna
they
do. Because
have to
that's
do. They feel like, you know, and
like if you
it's
go to go to
it's hard.
university for medicine, obviously you're gonna
Yeah.
probably
Be a
be a
doctor.
doctor that
Yeah.
helps patients out, and
Yeah.
not a lawyer facing court. That's not what's gonna happen. But there
Yeah.
are moments where sometimes you will learn multiple things, and there are multiple like routes that you could take,
Yeah.
and for you to learn on the way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really like dependent on you, I think too, because like God gives us free will. He gives us the ability to choose. He gives us the ability to like certain things and to be interested in certain things. Like if that weren't the case, then we wouldn't be having like hobbies and good at specific things
Mhm.
and have skills and stuff. Like God loves that stuff. He loves those things for us. You know what I mean? He created the people to create these things for us. So it's like I think too, like we have to realize that there are so many different things.
There's so many different things that you could try.
Yeah, you could
But
try.
before you press on forward trying to do everything, make sure you take the time to rest, because if you have nothing else to give, you can't just keep on pumping it out.
Yeah.
You have to sit back and analyze. That's the time for you not to go into isolation, because isolation is dangerous.
Yeah.
It's where the enemy likes to hit.
Prowl.
It's where he's hunting, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to be in a place of solitude where
Yeah.
it's you and the Lord, or for in our case, me, Olivia, and the Lord.
Yeah.
If you're doing a business with your spouse,
Yeah.
you should include
Yeah.
all three of you.
Yeah.
And you also have your individual ships with God.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also another thing we're trying to say is, or you've made it pretty clear, is like take time to rest, especially if you're burnt out. Like take the time to rest. Take the time for yourself and God.
Mm-hmm. Like
God and yourself to figure this out, and
Jesus rested, and
Yeah.
he was in the biggest ministry you could ever think of.
And if you're like someone who's on like a timeline where it's like you have to make money, like you have to, like you're providing for your family and you need to make money, like I would encourage you to like
spend time with the Lord. And
yeah,
I would say if before you start a business, let's just say, like, the smart way to start an
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, cycle or journey, however you want to say it, your journey in entrepreneurship, don't quit the 9 to 5 unless you're called to.
yeah,
Unless God explicitly says, quit your job, you're doing
Mhm,
this.
mhm.
Don't quit your job yet until your side hustle is a main hustle,
Yeah.
is the main breadwinner,
Yeah.
because if you try to make that side hustle the main
Unless-
thing, and you
sorry.
drop out when you're the provider of your household, you
Yeah.
are going to mess up. And that
Yeah.
God's not calling you to be stupid.
Yeah.
He's calling you to be a wise steward.
Yeah.
So if you're being a wise steward, that means that you are going to be smart. You are going to say, okay, I need to work from this time to this time, and I will invest this time in the business that God's calling me into.
Yeah.
So that way, when it is ready, when it is providing the right amount, I can
Then-
say goodbye to that job,
Yeah.
or I can cut the hours from that job and let that one take flight.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz that's I think a lot of the time what people just want to jump to. They just want to quit their jobs. And sometimes you can do that. And
Yeah.
just automatically. I mean, sometimes people are really fortunate and they they live with their parents, or they, can rely on their, spouse or something.
Or if you've got
to
a
help
giant savings
them,
account
or
somehow.
a giant savings account, and those are specific situations where yeah, you do have room to fail. You do have room to like, wait a little bit,
Be a little slower.
to be
and-
slower, to figure things out. And to focus on your business and quit your job and focus on your business. But
Don't burn yourself out trying to start a new business
yeah,
from the ground up
but don't
and
burn
be
yourself out.
immediately successful. Like that's how you ruin it, you know? You have to be smart, and you have to discern, and you have to listen to what God's telling you. If he's telling you to start that business, yes, go for it. But make sure you know what you're
Yeah.
doing, you know?
Yeah.
Because that will lead to you feeling, empty. It will lead you to feeling, out of fuel at the end of the day, and it's not a good place to be. We need to be able to function the right way. We need to be able to understand that we might be empty in times, but God will fill us back up. But let's do our best to constantly be filled with the Lord,
Yeah. It's hard. Like it really
Yeah.
is. Like you just want to
We're going through
yeah,
it too, like
yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
We're not saying that we don't struggle with that stuff. We do
Yeah.
have those ups and downs. I think when you're called into any kind of
Yeah.
ministry, any kind of business, there will be ups and downs, and the downs
Yeah.
might feel a little bit more tough, because if you have a down and you're working for someone else, you still got your job.
Yeah, you're still going to
you
have
know?
that paycheck coming in every week or so, and when you work for yourself, it's like you got to get out there and hustle. You do got to hustle. Don't just completely stay stagnant. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like we said, put in the work, have faith in God and
Yeah.
Jesus. But don't don't burn yourself out to don't if you need rest, take time to rest. That's why God gave us a Sabbath, first of all, a day of rest. Like yesterday, we literally just sat and watched
A show.
Netflix all day and did nothing and ate food and chilled out. And that's
had
what
a
we
mental
did.
break. Yeah.
Had a mental break. And it's that's what you need to do. Sometimes to just relax, and have that clarity come back, because it's hard. It's really hard. And it's I think, it's not the end all be all. Remember that. Your business is important, but as Christians, as believers, this is not everything. This is not our forever home. These material possessions that we have, we cannot take with them. The things that matter are obviously provide God and providing for your family and providing that stability of having a roof over your head and having food to eat. So it's even if I think this is important to say too, but even if you're not a millionaire right now or super rich right now, but you're able to provide, you are blessed, and I think we forget that a lot of the times because we want to be further ahead. But it's if you're able, with your business that you've been given, if you're able to provide, if you're able to put food on the table, if you're able to, your children are taken care of, whatever you have in your life, that needs to be taken care of, you are blessed. That is super important to remember. So don't feel discouraged. Your time will come. God is not going to leave you where you're at. And as long as you put whatever you're doing, what's the verse? The verse. Man establishes his plans, but the Lord will establish his steps. So it's remember that you can have your plans, but God will establish your steps. So it's okay.
And your steps can be
It's okay. It's like a windy path sometimes, know? It's not always going to be straight.
After being on the boat, I really learned a lesson in that, because
the boat.
We were on a boat the other day, but being up there, I was learning a couple things where it's you have a heading and you maintain the heading, but you're generally going to go a couple different directions, or you're going to go left, you're going to go right, but you're generally, as long as you keep your heading, the direction on the compass that you're going to go, you're going to end up there. But you might have to cut through the choppy waves. Sometimes you're going to surf them and it's going to be nice and smooth. Sometimes you have to cut and feel all the bumps and feel all the sways, but then you can surf it back again. But you are still going to head down that same direction. It's just that sometimes it's going to change. Sometimes, the water's going to change, that's the best way I can really put it right now.
Yeah, like there's so many different, avenues you can go on, at least for entrepreneurship, for business ideas. Think big, like, because
Hmm.
there's a lot of things you can do, and don't close yourself off to like other opportunities just because you thought that you were supposed to do this one thing. Like, seriously, like, unless God closes the door, like, don't like
And it's
close the door
ethical.
on that, like, yes, and it's ethical, remember that too. Like, do not be doing some shady stuff. But it's like sometimes it's like you either need to pivot in your business, you either need to kind of switch things up a little bit, or sometimes it's just not working and you need to do something new. And maybe you'll discover something new and ask God for that direction, because ultimately it's like remember, it's like God, like, it isn't, he's not just going to leave you like where you're at,
Hmm.
So for a moment, for a season, you might be feeling like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but you're gonna, one way or another, you're gonna figure out something, or you're gonna be able to have the direction and
Yeah.
the direction change if need be. And it's okay. Like, don't, like we've changed our business up so many different times. Like, before we were able to just do
It was around
something
the
like
same general thing,
general idea, but
but
it's
right, like, so
pivoting. Yeah.
maintaining the heading, but
Yeah.
there's going to be different directional changes,
Yeah.
you know.
So I think our biggest takeaway here too is like, pivoting's okay, as long as God is giving you that, or
As long as God's the
yeah.
priority, and
As long as God's your priority in it, God, like, it's okay to pivot. It's almost like getting a job. Like, you've interviewed for like 5 different jobs, and the one you get, you take,
hmm,
right? You take that one tip. Like, imagine it's like you interview for like 5 different jobs, and then you take like one,
well,
because
say,
that's
yeah,
the door that opened for you,
yeah, and there's other
so
moments where, like, say you take those 5 interviews and
yeah.
three want you,
Yeah.
you have to understand which one's going to be the
The
best,
best,
you
yeah,
know.
for you and for your situation, for your
What
family,
skills do you have?
what skills you have, like how you're going to succeed in it, and how you're going to bring excellence to the table through it. So that's what we're saying. Now, take everything we're saying with a grain of salt too, like always, because like this is our advice. Like, we are figuring things out as well. You know what I mean? We don't have it all figured out or
I
whatever.
wish.
I wish, but I don't think anybody ever really does have it completely figured out except for God. And it's
Hmm.
like, that's the thing. It's like, you do what you need, do what, how do I put this in the best way? Like, do your best, try your best, look for all other avenues that you could go down if things aren't working out, and that are within reason and biblical.
Be
Trust in
strategic.
God, be strategic. Take the rest that you need to figure that out, because I think that's when you really have your best ideas, is when you're well rested,
Hmm.
and when you've been able to have that time you need for yourself
The
and God.
greatest artists took rest times. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I think it was anyway, whoever the paint sorry, the paint there was a painter, right? And he was so involved in the painting, and it was looking good, but something was off. He couldn't tell
Yeah.
what it was, so he
Yeah.
stepped away for a bit. He
Yeah.
came right back, and he knew exactly what he needed to
Yeah.
do. He took the rest. He let his eyes, rest up. He let his arms rest.
Yeah.
He let his thoughts rest,
Yes.
and he was in peace at it.
Yeah.
And when he came back to it, guess what? He was able to make it
Yeah.
exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah.
You know,
Just have faith. And that's hard. It's easier said than done to have faith. And we struggle with that a lot too, is just
Mhm.
having that faith through it. But
Yeah, like the phrase "just have faith" isn't just 3 words. There's a lot. It's three
it's,
words. 3 words with a lot of meaning. You
yeah.
know.
And like, it's not always going to be just like, oh, I have faith. Like, it's like, it's, even when you don't really believe that it's going to be okay, or not that,
when it doesn't feel like it's gonna be
even
okay.
when you don't really believe it's going to be okay, right? Even when you don't-
Yeah, like God gives you hope when there seems to be no hope. He makes a way when there's no way. He creates that path for you. And
Yeah.
it's like when you have that relationship with him, you know that it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, like, just seek guidance too.
Mm-hmm. God gives you tools. Like, and we
Yeah.
keep on going and going.
Yeah.
But it's like,
like,
God gives you
it's just-
tools to be able to do this stuff. Don't ignore it. Like when you're going
It's just
through it-
popping up in my mind. I'm
Yeah.
like,
when you're in your down and outs, say like you're on empty, you got a flat tire. It's like God
Yeah.
gave you a tire iron, and He gave
Yeah.
you a cell phone. Sometimes that doesn't always work out, but
yeah.
He gives you resources to be able to get out of the mess.
Yeah. Yeah. Just remember that you're not alone. Like, so many other people face this every day, and it's really just a matter of, like, your life. Just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a matter of your life. Like, your life it's your life. Nobody else is doing the exact same thing that you're doing completely and has the exact same thing that you have, and like the gifts that you have, and like the person that you are, and like what God has blessed you with. So just remember that, like no matter what, like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to, like, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Through it.
Like it's okay not to be okay.
Yes.
Because you know that you will be eventually.
Yes. Yes. And like, we're all just figuring it out. And I think that's life. Like, we're always just all gonna be figuring.
If we knew everything from the get-go, then what's the point?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this is around the right time to. All right, guys. Well, this is around the time that we're gonna end the podcast, and we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope you enjoy the next one that's gonna come out. All right, then. See ya.
See ya. Bye. Wait. Say the second part.